And we're back with Radio Free 3D. Tommy McCay, your host. We were just talking about Sean McDaniel. Dr. Sean McDaniel is the Oklahoma City School Superintendent, dictatorial control. And we're going to move, soon we're going to be talking about next, actually. Joy Hoffmeister is going to get the first Oklahoma chainsaw manicure. But to finish up this story from Oklahoma City, people are worried about teachers getting paid. Well, this story explains teacher pay is secured while schools are closed under both state law and collective bargaining agreements between teachers and the district. So teachers will not show up to teach students, and the students won't be there, and the teachers will be paid. But they're going to leave the cafeteria open because that's where the money comes from. All that money that pours into the cafeteria doesn't come in to the cafeteria by lunches served. The feds pay by pieces of paper requesting. We're going to talk a little bit more about that coming up right now on the Oklahoma Chainsaw Manicure. It's where Tommy tabulates the potentate, and I tell you what the context is. The context is what I say it is. So for the premiere episode of Oklahoma Chainsaw Manicure featuring Joy Hoffmeister on our first premiere episode of this, I'm going to explain it pretty well. It sounds gory. It sounds horrible. You might think it's a Halloween bit, but it's not. I am brutally taking 18 minutes of audio and chopping it up with a course adjustment and then telling you what I think it means. I'm not going to take the time to spend all my time making sure that her context is taken into appropriate measure. It will be up to her to maintain her context, because what I found is when you do take into context the other people's area that you disagree with, they say, you took me out of context. And you can go all day long making sure that you've repeated literally what they said to try to put it into context. And you know what they'll say when you disagree? You're taking me out of context. So let's just understand and agree. They are going to say, I took it out of context, so let's just take it out of context. And that is, in fact, the Oklahoma Chainsaw Manicure concept, where context is what I say it is. And so here is the theme song for the first time on Radio Free 3D of the Oklahoma Chainsaw Manicure. We're going to do Joy Hoffmeister's nails first, and it goes like this.
Take off your latex gloves. Show me your fingers. Prepare yourself for the Oklahoma Chainsaw Manicure. You're gonna get your nails done.
Oklahoma Chainsaw Manicure. Oklahoma Chainsaw Manicure. Only on Radio Free 3D with Tommy McCay. So we're going to get right to this amazing manicure. So she was on a KFAQ, and I had my secret microphones ready to set up. So thank you, KFAQ, for broadcasting over the public airwaves the state superintendent, Joy Hoffmeister. Now, this just happened on March 24th, just 6 days ago, one day before she went in front of the state Board of Education to ask to close the public schools. So within 59 seconds, less than 1 minute, the person who is in charge of teaching the children starts talking about food. And here she goes.
And we're all wrestling with the same thing. A lot of kids that are dependent on nutritional meals.
Not teaching.
That they received at school. And now lots of families are being let go from positions with this effect on their various industries. So the need is really great.
So there she is within 1 minute, instead of talking about education and what the schools do to teach the children and how prepared they are to move forward in education. The first thing is, oh my gosh, we got to feed the children. I just told you they're feeding the 21-year-old children in Oklahoma City, and they're not checking IDs. So again, why the school education program in Oklahoma is competing with for-profit restaurant businesses, I do not know.
And we've spent the last week getting waivers from the U.S. Department of Agriculture to be able to deliver meals to homes on bus routes.
Now listen to that. I'm going to replay this clip. She denied Epic Charter Schools $500,000 worth of fine waiver. They needed to have $500,000 of a fine that the state was inflicting upon them due to a process issue. Epic Charter Schools was trying their best to meet the needs that the state asked for them on how to comply with their coding of payment, etc., of administration. Because of an honest mistake by Epic Charter Schools, allegedly, I would say, an honest mistake, then they asked Joy Hoffmeister for a waiver. In this particular case, can we please get a waiver before we have to take a $5 million hit on what is an honest mistake? And she said, oh, no. We're not going to give Epic Charter Schools a waiver because, that's just no waiver available. But listen to Joy Hoffmeister and what happened to her just 6 days ago, what she asked for from the feds and what she got.
And we've spent the last week getting waivers from the U.S. Department of Agriculture to be able to deliver meals to homes on bus routes or curbside pickup to keep kids physically strong. And now we're ready to turn our attention to how can we keep learning going.
Amazing how suddenly she's now able to turn her attention to teaching children. How can we keep learning going? Okay, why wasn't that your first inclination? Why weren't you worried about keeping learning going? Instead, you were focused on feeding children. This is encroaching on parental rights. And continually the schools and Joy Hoffmeister suggest they paint a picture of a grim reality where children are being starved by their parents. There's already state institutions that will take your children from you if you're not feeding them. It's illegal not to feed your children. And she suggests that children are starved by parents and that they've got to have a meal delivered to them on a bus route. Listen to this.
Spent the last week getting
she gets her waivers
from the U.S. Department of Agriculture to be able to deliver meals to homes on bus routes or curbside pickup to keep kids physically strong. And now we're ready to turn our attention to how can we keep learning going.
So she's gonna deliver food on bus routes. I thought that reading, writing, arithmetic, remember that? Now here we go with the free and reduced lunch clip. Listen to this one. Dang it. We're out of time. We're going to come right back. We're going to mow through this amazing problem in the public schools with money going down the drain in the cafeteria. Radio Free 3D. Tommy McCay will be back right after this.
First there was the Bible, then the Living Bible, and now the Exorcising Bible. Yes, the Exorcising Bible. No, this is not a diet weight loss program. Yes, the Exorcising Bible is now not available in stores everywhere. Specifically designed and complete with book cover, book pages, book binding. And if you order now, you'll get this handy carrying case. But that's not all. The Exorcising Bible is a tool used by professional priests and credible clergy specifically to rid victims of demon possession. Got a monkey on your back? Dial and receive your exquisitely manufactured Exorcising Bible. The Exorcising Bible gets the hell out.
The obnoxious party guest.